Hi, everybody. This is Warren Herman, and today I'd like to talk to you about some interesting things that can help us to face life's challenges. You see, whenever we are encountering some situation that is difficult, there is a temptation to give up. When we are facing something where we have to exert effort and do things we don't want to do, we'd rather seek comfort. We'd rather just kind of live on the sidelines of life. It's very hard to want to enter into difficult things if we don't have a motive for doing it. So, what I want to speak to you about today is how we can use some different techniques that are both spiritual and psychological to overcome this tension in our lives and come to a better understanding of how we are supposed to live and what we are called to do by God as a result. You see, a lot of times in life, we are faced with an unbearable challenge. And this unbearable challenge is daily life. Daily life is barren and worthless in itself, it seems. And the experiences of daily life seem to be meaningless and senseless. To go to work, to go through the drama of different random relationships with people in our daily lives, it doesn't seem to have a purpose unless we discover that there's something more to life and some higher purpose for our sufferings. Only in light of a God who has been given this the terrible fate of a senseless suffering on the cross can our own senseless lives be truly given a transcendent meaning. And so, what is very important is to realize these two polarities of life, this desire for comfort and the pain of the cross, this desire almost for the feminine, for the mother, and this tragedy and terror of having to live in the world of the father, to go out into the exterior world away from the womb. These are psychological and spiritual principles, so to speak, that we can apply to this challenge. Because many times, you see, we may want to, let's say someone is comforting themselves with drinking. We can see the resemblance of drinking almost to the bottle, going back to the mother. Or sometimes when people take drugs, drugs allow us to enter into the undifferentiated state of consciousness that is similar to what we experienced before we had to become a person, before we had to develop an identity in our lives, before we had to know these things. We can find this endlessly compelling reality of ourselves, whether it's in the hallucinations and imaginations of drug-induced states, or whether it's we take the path of Eastern meditation and find the essence of our minds to be compelling. And this is a regression back to the mother, a regression back to the womb, a regression back to that original, false, undifferentiated unity. But then we have the unbearable pull of separation, of work, of things we have to do in the world, this alienation. But I think what's very beautiful is that we can see that what we must do is to integrate these polarities. We are not called to a suffering that is devoid of warmth. Even Christ himself, who was God, on the cross had his mother at his side, standing at the foot of the cross. He embraced the deepest suffering, the most terrible possible suffering that a human could endure, or that his human nature could endure. But yet he had his mother, according to the flesh, there, and she truly is the mother of God. I'm not. I didn't mean that she's not truly the mother of God in that, but she's there and she's able to be that feminine role. He has the comfort of that feminine polarity. Even he needs that, or even he chooses for our instruction to need that. In that sense. So yes. So I want to just also explain some things here, because think about this, something that's very beautiful. I was looking at a video about the habit of the Franciscans of the Immaculate. They were talking about how the Franciscan habit is like putting on the cross. And I was thinking about how the Franciscan habit that they had was kind of a bluish color also for Our Lady. So at the same time they are putting on the mother, that polarity of mother, of comfort. They are putting on the suffering of father, of that masculine polarity of the cross. So the mother and the cross, the mother, the father, these polarities in our life have to be integrated, because we cannot truly, if we don't integrate these polarities, we'll fall back and forth. We'll work hard and play hard. We'll stay late at work and then go out drinking, or these type of things, or equivalent behaviors that may be much more subtle, but we will have these polarities. And so the thing to remember is that we want to remember always to experience the sufferings of life as coming from the hands of Mary. St. Maximilian Kolbe speaks about this, that when he was called got the call that the Gestapo were there to take him to Auschwitz, he said, "Yes, Mary." And he had trusted himself to her and entrusted himself to divine providence through her, knowing that everything that he was receiving in life was filtered, as it were, through her hands. And so this helps us to embrace our cross as given by our mother, so that we may become other sons of the Father, so that we may become other Christs, other, in a sense, other exemplars, other examples of the incarnation of the Word. But if we understand our sufferings as this, that if we put on that attitude of the mother and the cross, just like that Franciscan habit, we can then understand how we can live a life that is offered to us, that is both suffering and comfort at the same time, a closeness to God. Because if we enable ourselves, even on a natural level, to say, okay, I'm going to suffer for someone I love, I'm going to do this because it's difficult, but for someone I love, we bring that natural warmth into something that is naturally barren. But if we have this spiritual understanding, we can do this in a much more effective way, to know that our sense of separation is a way of closeness to the God who also experienced the sense of being abandoned by his friends, even a kind of sense of being abandoned by his Father. And so there's these many ways in which we are called to be using these polarities in our life to understand our true vocation. Because I think that this also helps us understand a way that we can look and be able to kind of smell, so to speak, what is our vocation in life. Because vocation is not simply obligation. Like, it's not like, okay, well, I have to be a priest because the church needs priests. Okay, I don't want to be a priest at all, and I don't like anything about it. I mean, yeah, that might be a good sacrifice, but there's a sense of obligation is not the primary thing. This barren obligation is not the primary hallmark, I think, of vocation. I think this is a legitimate thing we can use to think about. It's not the whole picture, but it's something we can use to think about our discernment. Also, when we're seeking comfort, if we say, hey, I'm called to the single life because I don't want to bother with people. I don't want to be married, and I don't want to be a priest. I just want to be alone. I want to go live out in the middle of nowhere because I don't like people. That's a vacation, not a vocation. So the thing is, we have to realize that anything, I want to be a priest because I don't think I can be a father. I want to be a father because I don't think I'd make a good priest. But if we're trying to avoid something, if we're trying to seek comfort, that's the other warning sign. But I believe that our vocation is this kind of call to be another son of God, essentially. It's to have this comfort of the mother, this comfort of connection, to be in relationship with Christ as we embrace the cross, to integrate the masculine and feminine polarities as we move forward with the course of life. And so I think that can help us to realize that it's not this kind of obligation, it's not a vacation, it's a vocation. It's that we are called to, just like that Franciscan habit, to put on the care of Mary as we put on the cross. So I think that is a thing that is helpful for how we should approach every situation, and even the big situations and decisions and calls of our life. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful in some way. And I hope this encourages you to embrace your sufferings as coming from the hands of Mary, so that you may become a son of the Most High God.